Welcome. You're watching Jimbo 2K coming to you from Louisiana with love. I am a small forward currently in the VBA, the Virtual Basketball Association, which is an esports NBA 2K league that is designed to supply some high level competition, while also developing players for the next level for the NBA 2K league. I play for the New Orleans Vipers, and I'm the small forward. As such, I wanted to make a really balanced build that could do a lot of different things. And today, I'm going to take you through how I put that build together, and we'll talk about some of the shortcomings and some of the strengths of it, and how maybe you could take that information and apply it to how you make your build, whether in a pro am league, the rec league, or in the park, however you like to play. With that being said, let's jump in and let's see if we can get to the bottom of it. So here we are at the My Career page, and we're just going to slide in and we're going to go over into the My Player Builder and get things started. So we know we're going to be a small forward. I'm a lefty, so I like to pick a left-handed player. Personally, it doesn't matter. And as we move in, we're going to go to the yellow and blue pie chart for slashing and playmaking. And as we select that, I like to go with speed, with the fastest build. In some cases, if I'm going with a block or a defensive or strictly playmaking player that gets the maximum speed allocation, I might move to a different pie chart. Actually, I'm way more likely to. But in this case, we're going to stick with speed because it's just going to be tantamount to being able to keep up with those perimeter players out here in Pro Am. And so as we set our potential, we're just going to take this from the top down. And we know that because we have a slashing playmaker, we're going to have Hall of Fame finishing badges. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to bump these up to 80, 84, and then our driving dunk, we're going to go ahead and push that all the way to 83. Okay. From there, we're going to leave these be and we're going to move forward. Now, this is a practice that I like to use, especially when I'm just like experimenting, but looking for balance also because I'll like to put things in different places at a time. So I might choose three different categories in finishing and then move over and fill one or two categories each in the other areas or whatever my primary area, my strongest area is, I'll make sure and give an allocation there. Then I'll move to others. But for this, we're going to move on to shooting. And so with our mid range shot, we want that all the way up because we're trying to make a balanced player here. As such, we're going to move our 3 point shot up to 64. And we need to be able to hit our free throws, guys. I know there are a lot of players out there who don't necessarily put the amount of attribute upgrades into free throw that they could. And I think that it bites them back in the end when they really get into some tough competition and end up in a nip and tuck game. So from there, we're going to move down to our playmaking. And I start off with ball handle because it's just so important to me not turning the ball over. There's so many players out there who can spam steal, and there's bump steals in so many different ways, flop steals to get the ball out of players' hands. That if you're going to be a perimeter player, even if you're not a playmaker, you need to make sure that this ball handle is really at a healthy point. So from there, we're going to move down to our defense. Now, obviously, we're small forward, and from any defensive perspective, really, we want our lateral defense uh, and our perimeter defense to be fairly healthy. Now, with this build, they cap so low that we really just want to make sure and have them all the way up, in addition to our steal. Okay. So once we've got our steel up, we already see in our badge breakdown, we're starting to see where we need to put more of our attribute upgrades that are remaining. We have 12 finishing, 8 shooting, 22 playmaking, but only one defensive badge. So from here, I'm going to try and give more attention to this. Now, at the small forward position, the way that I'm building this player, he's going to spend a lot of time at the power forward position. And that is something that I didn't necessarily plan on in the first few iterations of this build, and it began to really bite me. And so now when I play with this build, I really make sure and I allocate appropriately to be able to handle that position change. What I began to see was as I played more responsible defense, that I was able to really excel down low with what amounts to a below average or modest interior defensive rating of 59. And that's going to change as we change our physicals, but for now, we're going to keep that there. So then we think about the next things that this player or this type of player is going to be uh, responsible for and that I'm responsible for on the floor. I handle the ball a lot as a playmaker. And so that puts me in perimeter situations more often than not if I'm handling the ball. So I personally don't, I wait and allocate rebounding late. I believe in rebounding, but I also believe in blocking out. And because I believe in blocking out, and because I believe in positioning, and because 2K and and Sony and everyone has done such a great job of facilitating this product, those things matter. Body position matters, blocking out matters. So I'm going to wait and I'm going to rely on my IQ and I'm going to rely on my habits and I'm going to boost my block. And so from there, right now we see the block at 61. um, I like to have it boosted there because I think that it once we fiddle with our physicals, we may see that come down, and so that's just a really good place to have that for now. So from here, the game generally doesn't show me love for offensive rebounds. I'm not playing as a big man, so I'm not going to spend a lot of my points there. I'm going to come down a defensive rebound, and I'm going to hit that until it is maxed. And we can already see that they gave me 7 more badges, 8 defensive badges. That's really big. From here, I have 16 points left. So I'm going to bump up and see if I can squeeze out 10 badges, which I wasn't quite able to get to as we see here. So now my challenge is where can I buy points back, right? And so as you can see here, I was able to buy a point back in shooting. Maybe that'll help get us there. It won't. So close. And then I'm looking over where can I buy points back? Where can I buy points back? So I can buy 3 points back here for the cost of a badge that I get back at the defensive end. Now, for me personally, I think that that's huge. Having 10 defensive rebounding badges allows you just enough flexibility to be able to stay disciplined and dedicated as a perimeter defender, but to also be able to make an impact under the goal down in the paint if you have to. Now you'll see I just pulled 3 points from playmaking. I'm going to move those 3 points over to shooting and see if I can squeeze one more badge out there. And I was able to. So that puts me at 11 finishing badges, which are Hall of Fame, 9 shooting badges, 20 Hall of Fame playmaking badges, and 10 defensive and rebounding badges. I've got a 64 3 point shot. With those 9 shooting badges, I should be able to be a viable corner, open catch and shoot shooter. I still have 11 Hall of Fame finishing badges. So there should be plenty of bodies put in bags. I can handle the ball and play make, and my defensive statistics are such that I'm not going to be dead in the water against anyone. So as we push forward, we'll go with a burly body type just because it just feels good, and we'll bump our height down to 6'5". Now, bumping our height down to 6'5" does a few things that you automatically see. We get faster, we lose just a little strength, we get a little vert. Over on our finishing, our driving layup goes up to 91, which is great. Our shooting takes a great boost, especially our three. Getting that 67, just everything we can squeeze out of that really, really helps us. And the 75 mid range shot also looks great with the 82 free throw. Going down to playmaking, we see that we've got an 88 ball handle now going down to 6'5" with 83 pass accuracy. That's good for business. Okay. That's good for business. And when we look down at our defensive rebounding, things are going to get really interesting here because our interior defense takes a hit to 53, but that 53 is still enough with discipline and hands up to make life difficult for most, if not all, bigs. The 7'3 guys and the max strength guys might give you some trouble, but you'll really be able to go toe to toe with defenders down in the paint and bother people. Our perimeter defense and lateral quickness and steal all see good boosts with a significant boost at steal, which puts us in great shape to have an impact on the perimeter. Now we take a big hit on block, 10 points. We take a big hit. I personally felt like having a 50 block put me in a good enough position that if I was a disciplined defender, I could make the most of it. And what I got back through steal and speed was well worth the trade and ball handle. Then we see our offensive rebound and our defensive rebound take a small hit, but it's fairly marginal anyway. And that's not something we're asking this build to do. We're not asking this build to rebound. Now we're over to weight. And so as we come over to weight, we have some more interesting things that we can look at here. So we can go max weight and we see that our interior defense comes up. We see a great strength boost, and we see a speed drop off of what is that 91 to 87. That's 4 points, and so we get a plus to post moves plus interior D. You have to ask yourself, is it worth? Is it worth it? I believe that I can keep up with my gym rat. I believe I can keep up with most perimeter players with a 91 speed and a 90 acceleration. So I'm going to ride with this and the interior defense boost because it helps make me a more flexible player. And so now I've got a 60 interior defense with what will ultimately be a 90 speed. We move over to our wingspan. And here, if we go long, we can see the benefits we get. And this is huge because this is what puts us over the top for all of our contact dunk animations with finishing. And so this is what truly begins to make this build a problem driving to the rim because there's everything's at this build's disposal. When we go to shooting, we see that with this wingspan, we still keep 70s mid range shooting. I've got 72 with a 65 3 point, and our free throw shooting still great. Our ball handling still at 86, and we get a massive defensive boost. We see our perimeter defense come up to 78, steals at 82. We see defensive rebound at 70. It's really a great defensive foundation. So as we move forward, now we'll see that defensive boost was so significant that it gave us lockdown. It actually gave us the option of lockdown takeover, which I think is just really interesting. Now, personally, if you're going to choose a boost, that boost needs to be that boost needs to be something that you are already kind of good at so that you become unstoppable, right? Rather than something that you're average at so you become above average. I don't think that that impacts the game. So I'm not going to select a lockdown defender takeover because my defensive stats aren't so good that I'll become just this problem, right? So I look at my other options. Now, as a slasher, I'm already a problem. So with a slashing takeover, I become almost unstoppable. On 6'5", obviously, multiple defenders, the right defender, good positioning, disciplined defense can give me problems. But with that slashing takeover, I can become a problem. With the playmaking takeover, I can become a problem because I'm able to, as just as the description says, I'm able to freeze defenders more often, and I can enhance teammates' shot making with my assists. Those are things that I'm going to be doing a lot with my play style: passing the ball, finishing at the rim, freezing defenses, putting pressure on defenses and forcing them to make decisions. And so the other option, which is the option I'm going to select, is the shot creator option. Now, what this does, the shot creator option, by my understanding with the beautiful people at 2K Labs, this is going to give me a mid range shooting boost of plus 10 with a 3 point boost of plus 5. So now that puts my 3 point rating at a 70, and that puts my mid range rating at an 80 with all of the contact dunk packages, with pro dribble moves, and with borderline lockdown worthy defense. I've had a hard time getting away from this build. I've had a hard time building something else outside of a play shot um, that has the flexibility this build has. And frankly, a play shot is very flexible. You're not going under the goal with a play shot. You're not getting under the rim and banging around with bigs with a play shot. You may dunk on some people. I've seen people catch bodies with a play shot. But what you're not going to do is stop a center who's going nuts, or a power or a paint beast who's flying around. It's just not the build to do it. This build, this build can get in there and make a fight of it. And that play shot, this build can deal with the play shot. This build can deal with locks. I love it. This build has been great. And so as we push it to the final stages here, we see that we've got a slashing playmaker in the shade of Jalen Rose, Carl Bridges, and Jason Tatum. I'll take that. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. You've just gone with me through my slashing playmaker build for the VBA Sprint Series 2021 for the New Orleans Vipers. Be sure to check the VBA out. Come watch, watch me catch a few bodies, and the New Orleans Vipers pile up the wins. We appreciate you coming through, and stay tuned for more content, information, videos, all that kind of great stuff. Be sure to like, subscribe, and have a wonderful day.